Hello, everyone. Very happy to see you all here. On behalf of UAT, I'm very honored to welcome you on WCIT 2024, which we actually hosted also in 2019, 5 years ago. A big success that laid foundation for connections that blossomed since then. And now, very happy to see you again in Armenia and Yerevan, especially for those who traveled far away. Before we start with the fireside chat, I was actually thinking having a real fire here in case electricity goes away again. But it seems okay, so we can start. I'm talking today, we will be listening today to a very interesting person who just arrived in Armenia, and Karen Makoyan. I would love him to present himself and tell a couple of words about, actually I have a lot of questions, but we can start with maybe mainly with your background and introduction.
Sure. Bear in mind we have only 15 minutes, so I'll be a bit fast. Before going there, introducing myself, I'd like to thank everyone of attending, and I hope you enjoyed the session of the last few days. I know you might be a bit tired, but hey, it's the last day, so cheer up. And coming back to your question, yes, indeed, this is I'm back. This is actually my fifth day back in Yerevan. Last 16 years, I was living and working in Europe, in Vienna particularly, working for one of the largest teleco operator of Europe, serving around 22 million customers in 14 locations in Europe. Later on, I was working with smaller scale-up organizations in France, building and leading the customer success organizations and leading organizational transitions and transformations. So yeah, after 16 years, it's a pleasure to be back. I'm really glad I'm back.
16 years, that's a lot to miss Armenia. So why did you decide to come back? What like clicked to do that?
That's a really great question. Actually, I can probably name 3 reasons, and the collection of those 3 reasons made me consider coming back. Reason number 1, really, I'm following digital journey of Armenia from afar, the entire, like always. And I must say, last 2-3 years, there has been a tremendous shift, a tremendous progress, mainly thanks to the high-tech ministry, the central bank, the ISA agency. So from my perspective, there is already a very solid foundation one can build on top of, right? That's the reasoning number 1. The number 2 reason is actually in Europe, as we speak right now, the digital transformation, the so-called digital decade, is one of the key strategic initiatives. The idea is it's a threefold program or an initiative. The idea is from 2020 until 2030, over the course of this decade, all European citizens must be using, well, not all, but the majority, 80%, must be using digital identity services. That's sort of the requisite number 1. The other point is all the public services must be available online. Now, whether the citizens will use it or not, that's the other question. But the requirement is to have all the public services available online. And then the third element is to all the medical records of the citizens must be available online for the citizens to use. So to that extent, I think our agendas, as in Armenia, our digital agendas and the agendas of Europe, in particular in scope of the Digital Decade program, align pretty well. So from my perspective, the time is now. The timing is great. This is for me, this is a unique opportunity where we can really go hand in hand, in parallel to our European colleagues and partners, and really deliver the value there.
Sounds really promising. I would say, I was just thinking that, as you said, the processes are in parallel, but I hope Armenia will catch up this digitalization bandwagon and even maybe go further than some of the European states. And this is something which I believe we can.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Okay, I think people might be interested about why 10 plus 3 equals 1, because last time I checked, it equaled 13, not 1.
That's right, that's right.
What is the magic formula?
So the classic math still works, you're right, it's 13, but in our case it's a bit different. I'll share some high-level details, but then I'm not going to share the full details before our grand opening.
Let's keep the intrigue, yeah.
End of the year or early next year. Indeed, yes, we are a newly established organization founded by 10 banks and 3 teleco operators of Armenia. So this is the 10 and 3. All 3 teleco operators in Armenia and 10 banks are the founding organizations of our newly created organization. And our aim is to provide a comprehensive set of digital services to all citizens of Armenia, to all residents of Armenia, services that will really change the way they interact with the digital world. And having this 10 plus 3 format, it's a big deal, actually. To my memory, I think a cooperation around an idea, or consolidation around an idea and an initiative of this magnitude is quite unique. And this uniqueness is the 1. Therefore, we say 10 plus 3 is 1. 1 is also our population, our citizens, our residents, everyone who is living in Armenia, is the only beneficiary of the products we're building. We consider everyone a key stakeholder in our organization, in our products. And that is the idea of 1.
Very interesting. Actually, I believe that this kind of example is very unique in Armenia, and I think globally as well, when 10 banks and 3 telecos are joining their efforts, who are actually competitors in their field, just for the record, but they join their efforts for one vision. That's something very, very exciting, yeah. And I believe that there should be some core values or principles that you should have, unless it will be a chaos. So I want you to reveal that principles.
Sure, you're absolutely right. We have established our core values, core principles. When I mentioned the citizens, the residents, everyone living in Armenia being at the heart of what we do, I really meant it. And we are not a B2B, a classical B2B or a B2C organization. We are a H2H organization, a human-to-human organization. And this is one of, so human centricity and universality is 2 of our core values. However, our values are based on 5 pillars, the 2 I've mentioned. Obviously, we're in the digital world where trust is the key. The trust is paramount. And I know that trust is not built over time, right? It's a lengthy journey, it's a long journey to go. We ensure the trust by adhering to the best practices, to the highest, I want to stress this, really highest European standards in the digital world, in the identification world, called EIDAS and also ITSI. So we are building everything with trust in mind, with security in mind, security being one of our, the other of our pillars, of our visions. And security for us really signifies our unwavering commitment of making sure every bit of a data is secure and is consistent, and assurance of the data integrity as well. And then last but not least, the innovation is really at the heart of what we do. As we say, innovate or die, right? So to be able to stay competitive, innovation is paramount. So yes, a lot of innovation as well.
Great to hear that. But as far as I understand from what you are saying now, I have one question. Basically, when you talk about this digitalization, I want people here also to understand how it will be reflected in our day-to-day life. Do you mean that some of the processes and like the change our quality of life, like for example, queues, crowded corridors of some state agencies that we go to get some services there, or some banks as well, or like transactions that we should do offline, always going to the bank every time we want to sign something. I mean, what everybody loves. Are you saying that that might be changing in somehow? And if yes, how? If you can like tell a couple words on it.
Sure. All those, what you mentioned, we all like and appreciate staying in the lines for, yes, for hours. I think it's not only possible, it's inevitable. It's just a matter of time, and like I said, we're building the foundations of it. We're already seeing examples of it. If you compare to a few years ago and now, there is already the shift. What I am saying is we will move it to the boundaries, to the next level. So we will really make this transition from, say, analog to digital. And for me, at the end of the day, the buzzword, the digital transformation, is really more about the people than about technology. Technology, exists, evolves. It was always there, one way or the other. But it's the fundamental mindset shift of people that would rather use the digital services because they trust it, because it's convenient, ease of use, and all the components, rather than stay all those elements that you mentioned, stay in a line and wait for a confirmation with a blue stamp.
Actually, change of mindset, I think, is of course one of the hardest thing in all nations, not only in Armenia. That's a big challenge. That's a tough one. But I'm also curious, what are other challenges? I mean, I'm sure what are you saying sounds like utopian and really great, but I'm sure there are some challenges and obstacles to the way to reach that. So maybe you can like reveal a couple of them. Sure.
Well, obviously, it might sound easy. It's not, right? But we have the full commitment, the full support, by the way, and the full potential of just doing it and doing it the right way. It might sound utopian to some, but I am fully confident this is absolutely doable, and we're going to do it. Now, for the challenges, obviously, there are very, very many challenges, but I want to mention just one. And I'll give you some statistics and numbers as well, right? We're a numbers nation in the end. For example, as part of the Digital Decade initiative in Europe, one other element is to boost the basic digital competency of European citizens. Overall, and these are the numbers from the statistics, European statistics, right? Overall in Europe, only 56%, I was surprised by seeing those numbers, only 56% of people have the basic competency, digital competency. Now, of course, Europe being big with all the member states, from country to country this varies, right? The Nordic countries, Finland, Netherlands, they are in rather leading position with 80+%, 83, 85, etc. Switzerland around 80, Austria 63. But then equally there are countries like Romania, Bulgaria, Poland with 28%, 36%, 44%. Right? So in terms of how to solve this, this is one of the strategic directions in Europe as well. The aim is by 2030 to make sure this is at the level of 80%. Now, back to our realities, I don't have the data for Armenia, the percentage, but I'm sure we have a lot of work to do there. Right? So I think this is one of the challenges to make sure we can grow a next generation by 2030 or provide enough support to the current citizens and residents to make sure they are comfortable using the digital services. But every challenge, honestly, introduces an opportunity as well, right? So I see this as yet another opportunity on how we can collaborate with our European partners. So this is a potential for collaboration as well. But of course, there are a few other challenges as well. We'll solve them as we discover.
Yeah, that's actually a big challenge, and that's why I had this assumption that might be. But I will also ask you, how can we? And when I say we, it's not me or just me. I'm asking about like also Armenian Society, Union of Advanced Technology Enterprises, which I'm coming from, UAT, which has 200 members, tech companies who are like, some of them are like best experts in this field. How can we all help you? Because digital literacy is something that cannot be solved in one day. And it's different in capital, it's different in regions, of course. And UAT has been this was for a long challenge for us as well. What are your thoughts? I mean, maybe each of us after this room, because we all dream about what you are saying. It sounds like amazing. But maybe we all have a job to do here.
We have indeed. You mentioned UAT. So far, we have received great support from UAT and many other organizations as well, right? I'm not going to start naming the organizations, but so far, we are introducing what we're aiming for, and we're always receiving a great support. So for now, crossing the fingers and providing us support is enough, but then on a later stage, obviously, as we conceptualize our programs, as we conceptualize our work streams, of course, we will reach out for very practical support, not only in terms of raising the awareness, but really working together. Right? We see this as an opportunity, as a real partnership within Armenia and abroad as well, and our approach is always, it's not a client-vendor kind of a relation, client-provider-consumer kind of a relations. It's a partnership, and partnership assumes a two-way street. It's a give and take, right? And this is the direction we want to go.
Thank you, thank you, Karen, sorry. We really hope you will succeed, because if you succeed, we all will succeed. And we are very looking forward to your grand opening and grand launch of this great initiative. Thank you for this interesting talk, and thank you everybody for coming. Thanks.
Thank you. Maybe just one very quick note. I should use this opportunity to let everyone know that we are actively recruiting. So for the coolest job in tech, please feel free to reach out to me.
Bring your CVs.
With your CVs, with interesting talks for your information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.